team like Kyrie and KD. Or the Lake Show with King James and AD. Wish I could match him up with the bad boys from the 80s. But no black and white, I need that in HD. HenDawgz.
Yo, what's good, y'all? It's your boy HenDawgz, and we back to it. You know how we do it. The giant kid who could change the NBA forever. That's a bold statement right there, Jimmy High Roller. But I don't think he's off. I've seen a couple clips of this kid. His name is Victor Wembanyama. I don't even know how to pronounce his last name, but in a couple years, we all gonna know it. We all gonna be able to pronounce it. We all gonna be able to know exactly how to say this man's name because he's gonna be the future. I think he's like 7'3", and he can do it all. He can do it all. So we're gonna get into this video, but before we do, make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. We're on the way to 10K. So you right there that's watching, if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, go ahead and hit that button. If you're not subscribed yet, it's gonna be red. It's gonna say subscribe, and it's gonna be red. When you're gonna press on it, turn it gray for me, man. I would appreciate that in advance. Go ahead and like this video if you like this video, and go ahead and write something in the comments. Let me know what y'all think about this kid. I'm telling y'all, like, I haven't seen much, and that's why I really want to react to this video, because I want to see a little bit more. I actually want to know how to pronounce his name too. But the few clips that I've seen, he's like a Giannis. He's like a taller and bigger Giannis that can shoot. So just think about Giannis and KD in a Porzingis body. Like, that's kind of how he is, man. So let's get into this video so we can see a little bit more about this guy. We got the giant kid who could change the NBA forever. Let's get it.
The best prospect I personally ever evaluated
is a once-in-a-lifetime type of talent.
It's really not fair. One kid can have so much talent.
Simply put, he's a generational talent, described as literally one of the best NBA prospects ever.
He's a unicorn.
People don't talk about him like he's a future all-star. They start the conversation with future MVP.
That's some pretty high praise for an 18-year-old who hadn't even played an NBA game yet. Except these remarks are not about LeBron. All of these comments are about the 2023 draft prospect, Victor Wembanyama, a player who scouts are saying might just be the best NBA prospect of all time. Except there's just one thing scouts are forgetting.
What they forgetting?
Today's video is sponsored by Keeps. Keeps is a subscription-based service that focuses on making it.
They ain't sponsoring us, so we're gonna have to fast forward Keeps. But Keeps, let's work. Let's work. I ain't going bald yet, but we still can work. I'm sure some people that's watching this video that's going bald, so we can help you all out.
Question. Off the top of your head, who is the best player in NBA history 7 feet 3 inches or taller? Yao Ming, Ralph Sampson, Rick Smits, Lady Arvidas Sabonis? I'm sure a few names come to mind, but only a few. And that's because even in a league full of giants, there just hasn't been many players this tall. In fact, throughout the NBA's 75-year history, there have only been 26 players who were 7 feet 3 inches or taller. Of those 26 players, only 3 of them are currently in the NBA, and only 3 others made the Basketball Hall of Fame. See, despite size and length being one of the most valuable...
Before Jimmy get into that, yeah, let's talk about it. Who is the greatest player on this list? Is it Yao? Is it... I didn't know Ralph Sampson was that big. He was 7'4". I never knew that. But yeah, let me know in the comments who was the best player on this list right here. I'll probably go with Yao.
Assets in the game of basketball. There is such thing as being too tall for the game. At what point does a player have too much height? Well, if history tells us anything, it's that the threshold is about 7'1". I know, it's a rather specific number, but time and time again, we are shown that anyone above 7'1" is bound to have significant, if not career-ending injuries and health issues due to their incredible size. Out of these 26 players, really only about 7 of them went on to have notable careers. And of those 7 players, 5 of them either missed entire seasons due to injuries or had to retire due to injuries. you'd actually have a hard time finding more than a few players who were taller than 7'1" who didn't have careers plagued by injuries. There seems to be a specific limit to how big a player can be before their size quickly becomes a debilitating detriment. And I say all of this for one reason. This kid, 7'3", 18-year-old Victor Wembanyama, a player that possesses all the physical tools and skills to be a once-in-a-generation talent, but may just be too tall for his own good. Victor is already being anointed as the best NBA prospect since LeBron James 20 years ago, which sounds like a massive reach until you watch the kid play. See, over the last few decades, we've witnessed some of the all-time greatest NBA prospects get drafted. The kind of talent that has teams scrambling to lose as many games as possible to get. Shaq in 1992, Tim Duncan in 1997, LeBron James in 2003, and Anthony Davis in 2012. With talents of this caliber, there's never really any debate as to who's going number 1 overall. In fact, in some cases, if these prospects were available for the draft sooner, they would have gone first overall before they were even eligible. Ron Artest is on record saying LeBron could have played in the NBA by the time he was just 15 years old. Former NBA player and longtime NBA exec Danny Ainge said, "There are only 4 or 5 players in the NBA that I wouldn't trade to get LeBron right now." This was back in 2002, when LeBron was a 17-year-old high school junior. Of course, not all ultra-elite NBA prospects are ready to make the jump right away. A few years ago, Marvin Bagley was far and away the best recruit in the class of 2018. So to expedite his journey to the NBA, he reclassified to the class of 2017, and was still the number 1 recruit in the country. But despite his glaring talents and NBA readiness at such a young age, he has yet to make a real impact at the NBA level. Because no matter how incredible a young prospect is, in the world of sports, there is no such thing as a guarantee. But rarely, maybe once or twice in a decade, a prospect comes along and nearly reaches that unattainable status. The 2023 NBA draft will feature one of these generational prospects in Victor Wembanyama. Victor has been in the spotlight for quite a while now. And not even 24 hours after the 2022 NBA draft, attention already began to shift to next year's draft and the ultimate prize, the 2023 NBA draft, informally being labeled as the Wembanyama sweepstakes. By now, most of y'all have probably heard of Victor or seen clips of him playing. The first thing that stands out is his absurd height and length. 7 feet 3 inches tall, with a 7 foot 10 inch wingspan. For some perspective, here's 6 foot 4 inch 2022 NBA draftee Jaden Ivey. Here's 7 foot 1 inch Chet Holmgren. And over here is Victor Wembanyama, making Chet look like an undersized shooting guard. But many scouts and onlookers have said that Victor isn't 7'3". He's actually closer to 7'5", which just sounds like...
I was gonna say that because if Chet is 7'1", he got him by more than 2 inches right there. Like Chet literally looked like he about 6'8" right there. So yeah, they say he about 7'5", and y'all see him? He was going behind the back, layups, tip dunks, turnaround jump shots, 3-pointers, like literally KD and Giannis in a Porzingis body. Like this is crazy, man.
It's like a bunch of speculation. But you see this guy right here? This is Zach Edey. Zach's official listed height is 7'4". And Victor is a giant. But his incredible stature isn't nearly what makes him a potentially generational talent. It's what he does with it. Quick feet, even quicker hands, agility that is visually startling for a player of his size. Despite being a skyscraper, he can take defenders off the dribble with an explosive first step or use an arsenal of moves to create separation in ISO situations. The kid is 7'3" and can create shots for himself anywhere on the court. Similar to Kevin Durant, his high release on his jump shots makes them virtually unguardable. Although he's not nearly the outside shooter Durant is. But he does have an inside game far beyond his years, where he uses a variety of combinations involving spin moves, pump fakes, and fadeaways, which keeps the defense in a constant state of gambling, like a perpetual game of choose your poison. Ultimately, at the moment, his strengths are in the open floor and on defense.
And I know a lot of people was going to be like, well, he needs to gain weight, he's so skinny, this and that, but the NBA game, you don't have to be that strong. I would much rather, and I'm not even an NBA scout, NBA executive, and I'm sure NBA executives feel the exact same way. But I would rather have someone that's very long and lanky than strong. Like blocking shots and dunking, running the floor, like that's the type of stuff that the NBA game is kind of turning into. So you need those players that's very long and lanky and can run the floor and can dunk. Like you don't need them to be all strong and, you know, macho man football players. Like you don't need that in the NBA game today. So I mean, granted, he's gonna probably gain about 10 to 15 pounds, and that's just gonna come with age. Like he's only 18. So by the time he's 22, 23, he's gonna be out there really looking like Giannis. Like the build that Giannis got, but he still got Giannis by like 5 inches. So the sky's the limit for him. The sky's really the limit for him. And also another thing too, just because you're big and tall don't mean you're guaranteed to be great. Like there's a lot of big people out in this world that's just walking around, you know, with regular jobs. So the fact that he's still got the skill and he's gonna develop even more skill, like it's gonna be scary, man. You just gotta keep it up. Just keep doing what he's doing.
With his speed, quick reaction, and size, Victor is virtually an automatic bucket in transition. He has the situational awareness and athleticism to create transition opportunities out of thin air. On defense, he already possesses world-class instincts and timing, and his insane length allows him to seemingly be in 2 places on the court at once. However, Victor, just like every other prospect that came before him, does have his weaknesses. But all of these weaknesses are things that, with the right development, can be solved. His slim frame, his shoddy decision-making at times, gambling on defense and relying on his length to make up for it, the usual weaknesses of most young mega-talents.
7'5", 205 pounds is crazy, though. I'm 185, 90 pounds at 6'1", and he got me by a whole foot and a few inches. And he only got me by like 15 pounds. So yeah, that's tiny. That's tiny, but he's still, I say 230. 225, 230 is all he needs. Like he don't need to be that big.
But none of that matters, because Victor isn't just the presumable #1 overall pick in the 2023 NBA draft. He's the draft pick of the decade. According to SB Nation's Ricky O'Donnell, the last prospect this big, this fluid, and this comfortable with the ball in his hands might be a young Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. One anonymous NBA scout said, Victor can be Gobert defensively, Porzingis offensively, with Jokic-like passing skills. Another NBA scout said, when you see something you've never seen before, it can feel like your eyes are playing tricks on you. And many other scouts shared this same opinion, most of them struggling to even come up with an appropriate comp for Wembanyama, since, quite frankly, there's never been a player like him in the history of the NBA. Last summer, Victor faced off against Chet Holmgren during the U19 FIBA World Cup final, and despite Victor being a year younger than Chet, one NBA scout said, "Never have I seen Chet Holmgren overshadowed physically like he was last year whenever the two met." Just off of sheer potential, Victor is one of the most sought-after prospects we've ever seen. But there's just one small catch these scouts are missing. Actually, it's one massive 7'3" catch. Victor's too damn tall. As we previously touched on, the history of extremely tall and sustainably great big men is very, very short. No matter how talented a freakishly tall player is, no matter how enticing their physical tools are, at a certain point, all that height will eventually become a detriment to their game and their longevity. This trend of injury-prone ultra-big men has become so prevalent that it isn't the exception, it's practically the rule. Believe it or not, there are only 5 active NBA players who are taller than 7 feet. And of these 5 players, only 3 of them are taller than 7'2". Kristaps Porzingis being easily the most talented of the 3. But outside of an injury-riddled Porzingis, who is the last player taller than 7'1" that made a real impact in the NBA? Stop, don't even bother trying to come up with an answer. It's Yao Ming, who had his last all-star caliber season nearly 15 years ago. Which means that this century has featured two players, 7 feet 2 inches or taller, who played at an elite level. And both of them have had their careers derailed due to injuries. It's virtually inevitable. Since the 2000 NBA draft, here are the percentages of games missed from lottery picks sorted by height. Throughout these 3 height ranges, there seems to be no correlating factor between height and injury. Generally speaking, players ranging from below 6 feet all the way up to 6'11" experience injuries at a very similar frequency. But lottery picks from 7 feet to 7'1" have missed 26.2% of all their potential NBA games.
That's crazy.
This is a staggering amount. Now, I would add another height range of 7'2" and above, but there just hasn't been enough NBA prospects in that height range. The last time a player that tall was selected with a lottery pick in the NBA draft was Kristaps Porzingis in 2015. Before Kristaps, you have to go back to 2009 when the Memphis Grizzlies drafted 7'3" Hasheem Thabeet with the 2nd overall pick. 1 spot ahead of James Harden, 5 spots ahead of Stephen Curry, and 7 spots ahead of DeMar DeRozan. Hasheem stayed relatively healthy, but spent 5 seasons bouncing around to numerous teams and finished his career with averages of just 2 points and 2 rebounds on 10 minutes per game. Believe it or not, Hasheem Thabeet actually holds an NBA record for the tallest and highest drafted player to ever be sent down to the D-League. I swear I'm not making that up. That's tough. It's a real fact. And to find the next absurdly tall lottery pick, you have to go all the way back to the 2002 NBA draft, when the Houston Rockets drafted Yao Ming with the #1 overall pick, who, to my estimation, is the greatest player over 7 feet 2 inches in NBA history. To this day, Yao Ming is criminally underrated.
Yao was a bucket though. Like, I remember those battles between him and Shaq. Like, they was real battles. Like, I think he was that second center in the league behind Shaq. Shout out to Yao Ming, man.
Only thing bigger than he was were the standards put upon him coming into the NBA, and he lived up to that standard. But unfortunately, the height that made him an unstoppable force on the court was also the cause of his retirement smack dab in the middle of his prime at the age of 30. Finding a young, talented player with this much size is a feat in its own right. Finding a young player with this much size with the expectation that he has a long and healthy career would be nothing short of a miracle. To say the odds are stacked against this young man would be an understatement. We've just rarely seen any player pull it off. But that's the thing. Victor isn't like any other player. He can protect the paint like Gobert, create offense like Porzingis, run the floor like Giannis, and pass like Arvidas. All in one package. With a talent like this, teams will gladly take all the risk for a shot at the ultimate reward. If he can stay healthy, Wembanyama has the opportunity and the skills to be a player unlike anything the NBA has ever seen. With that being said, let the Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes begin.
Shout out to Victor Wembanyama. I don't even know if I just said his name right again, but one day I'm going to get it right. Let's just hope that he can stay healthy. That's going to be the biggest thing. Like, that was one thing I took from this video, is that the odds of him staying healthy is not high. Because the people his size are just typically not supposed to stay healthy. Like, you're 7'5". Like, I can't imagine walking around being that big. Like, that's going to be tough. But if he can get it together, it is 2022. Like, he can get $1 million worth of rehab, and, you know, the same way LeBron take care of his body, that's how Victor need to take care of his body. But I appreciate y'all for watching this video. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel if y'all haven't already. Make sure y'all like this video. If y'all like this video, go ahead and write something in the comments. Let me know how y'all feel about this upcoming stud, this upcoming superstar. Like, the expectations is gonna be super high, but I think he can do it. I think he can play. He can play like Porzingis, KD, Jokic. Like, I wasn't even talking about the defensive side. Like, they say he can be Gobert, Anthony Davis on the defensive side. So if he can do all of that and be one person, the sky's the limit, man. We might have the next big superstar in this league coming soon, man. But I appreciate y'all like always. We out.